Hello, my name is Dan Johnson and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the brand new Dark Galifrey trilogy entitled Master, but with an exclamation point rather than the War Master. Nevertheless, in this set, a group of promising young students have been sent on a field trip with their professor being the Master. As you can imagine, the trip goes quickly off the rails and you are sat wondering what the grand plan is, and the mystery and the moral dilemmas that these characters have to go through is really interesting. It was also nice to see something tie into the previous box sets that I talked about. That was quite a big issue that I had in my previous review, was that nothing really felt connected, and things are beginning to connect. Once again, we have a fresh identity for the range, which I really enjoy every couple of months, getting a person's new take on Dark Galifrey and their universe that they're building for themselves within the confinements of this trilogy. And this one has a really, really good mystery. It has sort of two halves. One half is the flashbacks, I suppose, of the actual field trip, and the other is the present day and one of the survivors talking to a mind shield about their experiences. I think these sets coming out a month after each other has worked in its favour, because this story has been lingering in my head and the questions have been festering, and I've really wanted to know what was going to happen next. But I think that may be just me, because for the first two parts, I was sitting there thinking, I don't know how I feel about this one. It doesn't feel like it has the same energy that the other box sets have had. The pacing, particularly in part one, was really suited to this format. I think that once you get further into the story, it works better as one full listen all the way through. So it's something that I'll have to do in the future, is go through this trilogy again and listen to it. The set even has its own chapters built into the story that work as quite a nice narrative structure. So I'd be interested to see, if I go back to it, how it works out, because at the minute I'm still seeing it as three individual parts when really it's supposed to be consumed as one long story, and I think it would work better for that. Some of the other trilogies have had their own identities. For the Missy box set, for example, there's a Seventh Doctor one, and there's a clear beginning and end to that one. And that did make it a little bit harder to sort of get yourself back into the world each time. It did take a few re-listens to be able to understand these characters a lot better, because on a surface level, they're more or less the same. But I really enjoyed the little moments that I was able to pick out, and the alliances that are formed, the betrayals, and the way that they sort of turn against each other, especially in those first two parts when they are trapped in this planet and they don't know how to get out, and they're trying to learn to survive with the overseeing eye of Eric Roberts' Master. That sort of stuff is really good once you get to grips with who everyone is and how everyone feels about the predicament. It really does take the story a little while to get to that point. Like I say, part one doesn't really feel like it has much focus, but when you get into part two, the reasons that they are there become more apparent, and that makes the story and their characters more interesting. There's also the Eighth Doctor's appearance in this trilogy. It was a bit of a shame to not really see him appear, especially when the Big Finish cover initially had him over the cover art of the first episode that was quickly deleted when it was released. So it builds up to this epic moment when the Eighth Doctor makes his return, and of course Paul McGann is really, really good, and him and Eric Roberts are amazing together. The only issue is they kind of take over the story in the final part. There is a moment when I had to wind back because I forgot about the characters that we've been following for the last 2 hours, because the stuff with the Doctor and the Master became the centre focus of the story. Especially at the end, when you have a fight scene that they ripped out of a previous classic Doctor Who episode and just sort of reenact it for the sake of the story. And that's how it ends. It's a very weird way to end a story that felt like it was building to something very different. But that was never what the story was about. It was never about the Doctor and Master meeting each other again and facing off once more. No, it wasn't about that. It was about this group of Gallifreyan children that were promised to have such incredible futures, and the things that happened to them on this trip. This has been a very interesting one to review, because back in July, I said in my notes that I did not like this story, that I was not enjoying it, and I thought I was going to sit here in September and tell you how much I disliked this trilogy. Now it's September, and I'm saying that I really enjoyed it, and I would recommend it. There is a lot of issues in it, don't get me wrong, but I've had a really fun time getting into this world, getting into this environment, and that has been the fun of this story. The investment that I've put in by re-listening to these stories has given me that appreciation for Lizzie Hopley's writing, and I've actually been able to get a lot from that. So I recommend this story, but it's definitely one that is more personal preference to me. This trilogy has actually got me really interested as to what Dark Galifrey is going to do next, and I do find it quite sad that we're not going to get another trilogy till next year. In fact, the whole 8-part saga thing that's going on is not concluding till 2027. But I am really excited to see where they're going to go and where they're going to go next. I'm imagining there'll be some team up at some point, or maybe that's just my Marvel brain telling me that there needs to be like an Avengers level ending to things. But I'm excited to know who's next and where it will go. The Sacha Dhawan Master box set, which is called Monsters, comes out on Thursday. I'm not going to be able to listen to it nor review it till the following week, so I'll be back reviewing that fairly soon. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you go like, subscribe if you are new, and I shall see you soon. Goodbye.